Namaste. Welcome to class. Finding your comfortable seat. So just getting started for a moment, but making sure your seat is really comfortable. In just a moment, we're going to pop up. So let's just sit for a moment and focus internally. And then we're going to start working today on forward bending a little, okay? So we're going to take it easy, but let's, well, that's going to be relative for everyone, okay? So just finding a seat for a moment, just beginning to center ourselves, drawing ourselves within. So peel off the senses one by one, letting your eyes close. Your hearing will be the last thing to go. Feeling the mat below you, the clothes on your body, and let that feeling go. The taste in your mouth, let that feeling go. Just feeling all the way through the senses, and the sound being the last. Vision with your eyes closed, or a soft gaze at the floor. So coming inside, peeling off the sensory perception and just being in for a moment. Taking a few easy breaths. Without changing it, noticing if you went to your belly or to your chest to breathe, just noticing. And then intentionally going to the belly for 2 or 3 breaths. Let the belly muscles release as you inhale and the belly expands like a balloon as the diaphragm drops. And as you exhale, use your abdominal muscles. Pull the belly back. Inhaling and exhaling into the abdominal region. And on your next inhale, bringing your hands into the heart, Anjali. With gratitude, we salute all the great yoga masters, past and present. A special prayer of thanksgiving for Baba Haridas. With joy, we recognize the excellent wisdom teachings of yoga and Ayurveda. And with vigor, we dedicate ourselves to self-transforming practice. So as always, what do you need this morning for self-transformation? Usually the first thing that pops into your mind, just bring it in, ponder it, embrace the thought. And then letting that thought slip down from your mind into your heart space, and we'll bring it back at the end of class. Exhaling the breath all the way out in a nice inhale to Om. Letting your eyes flutter open. Good, and then just press your hands into each other, interlace the fingers for a moment. Just do a few figure eights. And then other direction. For many times I could never think there was an other direction. And then squeeze the arms out in front. Let them come up as far as is comfortable, not too far. Don't worry about going all the way up. Just as soon as I hit that acromion process of your shoulder blades and the clavicle, okay? And then letting your hands come back behind you, interlace the fingers there, squeeze the knuckles down toward the floor, opening your heart, opening your chest. Good. And then just release the arms to your thighs. Just release them for a moment, hands to the thighs. And then just a little twist, walking over to the left side. Keep your gaze to the center. Just using the sternum over to the left side and walk it back. And then your sternum over to the right side and walk it back. So the ribs are where you're twisting, not in your low back. One more time, over to the left. Come back to the center and over to the right. Good. And then right back in the middle. So go ahead and stretch your legs out. We're just taking assessment for a moment. So let's see where we are at the very beginning of class in this Pachimottanasana, in this forward westward stretch. So we always have to choose between our hamstrings and our back. Primarily, our hamstrings are having a war with our quadratus lumborum, which are these two muscles on either side that hold your low ribs down to your pelvic basket. And so there's a constant war between the two. So sitting with your legs outstretched, and just notice if that is making you curve your low back, or if it's up. If it's not, if it's making you curve, just grab a pillow, put it right underneath your sit bones. Don't go too high because your knees, you don't want it to hang in space and go negative, okay? Slight bend to the knees, very slight, sitting up tall. And at the very beginning, we're just assessing where we are. So we're not pushing. We're going to work on this movement all the way through class today, through many different poses. And then we were going to assess exactly how we function or how we did, okay? So begin to tilt the pelvis forward as the tailbone reaches back. If you were a lizard, your tail would be directly out of your tailbone, back behind you, and pretend somebody steps on it and holds it there. And you keep reaching away and just see where you are. Just notice. Once you get long, look out towards your feet, so get long first. And then let your upper spine curl as you bend your elbows, take your chin into your chest. This is a whole westward stretch, so the whole back side is lengthening, including the legs. They're also lengthening. But you're getting an idea how much your restriction comes from your hamstrings or your back. Good. And then coming up, walk yourself up. I had to bend my knees greatly, get my hamstrings out. So now we are going to just pop up for a moment. We're going to do our first forward bend today in a chair. So I hope you have a chair handy, okay? So just grab your chair. Any kind of chair will do. And sit your sit bones right on the edge of your chair and make right angles with your feet. And then walk your feet apart a little because you want to be able to receive your chest in between your knees. But make sure your knees and your second and third toes are in the right direction. Right in the middle, you can see your big toes, okay? And you're sitting up on your sit bones on the chair, okay? Any chair is fine. And then tilt your pelvis, lizard tail behind you, headed back to the wall behind you. Somebody just stepped on it, so let it hold it there. Now this is with no hamstring restriction, and just see how far you go in that stretch. So the hamstrings are completely out of the equation. Our knees are deeply bent. The crown of the head can be toward the floor. If you have any eye problems, eye pressure, just look forward, press into the floor a little bit, but just letting yourself relax in the spine. Press into your hands so that your spine is relaxing. And then I want you to very carefully listen to how we're coming up. We are not going to use our back muscles, we're going to use our arms. So put your hands right above your knees. Glue your elbows back by your ribs and begin to press into the arms and hands and push up. Good. And now you're all the way up. So that's just our first place to sort of understand why you're there. Go ahead and bring up the left leg and extend it out. Just seeing what feels comfortable. A few extensions. Flex the foot, extend it. See if you can work towards straight. You don't need to straighten. Certainly don't lock it. Good. And then lower the left leg. And then hold on to the right one. Just hold on to those tendons of your hamstrings. Flex the foot and lengthen. One side may be a lot easier than the other to think about lengthening. Both of mine, my hamstrings are so tight. You would think I were a runner, and I'm not. Good. One more. And then let that go. Sit up tall again. And because this is so good for our whole body, we're going to go forward one more time. Poke your tailbone back behind you. You can wiggle, lizard tail back behind you. Pretend someone just stepped on it. Keep pulling your pelvis away and fold. And like I said, if you get dizzy, don't go with your head down. Just look forward. Looking out beyond your mat, just looking out. Place your hands fully on the floor if they're there. Otherwise on your feet, your shins, your legs, wherever they happen to be. And just notice what's happening at the relationship between your thigh bones, your femurs, and your spine and your ribs. My ribs are laying on my femurs. So just think about how that is with no hamstrings. Bring your hands again to above the knees. Take an inhale, grow those elbows back, and good. And now let's move the chair out of the way. Great. So hopefully you have a strap or a belt or something, and if not, you have on long pants and you can hold on to that, because we're going to work for a moment with how our hamstrings are reacting and what's happening with that reaction with our hamstrings. So we're going to work a little bit in the legs. And I'm going to lie down here and I'll do one side and then the next. I'm going to flip between sides because I have a wall here that won't let me go any further. But you can hopefully have movement on both sides. Maybe I can, if I do it like this, you won't get to see the whole leg. So better like this. Maybe for the second side, I'll change. Okay. So I'm lying down and I have a belt. So I'm working on my hamstrings instead of my low back, because my hamstrings are what's stopping my low back. All right. So lying down slowly, bend both knees, put your feet on the floor. Make sure you have a little lumbar curve. So don't press your low back into the floor. It will go into the floor on its own when needed. But right now, with your knees bent and your feet flat on the floor, be sure that you have a little lumbar curve. Nice little mouse could crawl right under my low back. And then lift your left leg, put your strap or scarf or something around it. If not, just hold on to your britches on the left side. Okay. So find yourself. Now with your left arm, put your shoulder on the floor and hold on like that. So don't stretch your arm up and strain. Relax your arm, hold on with your hand. Okay, good. Flex the foot and take the foot up toward the ceiling. Just right up toward the ceiling as much as it'll go. And that's all we're doing for a moment. Okay, just toward the ceiling first. Breathe. And then gently begin to draw the leg a little bit towards you, just a little bit. You're going to find your low back, head toward the floor on the left side. You'll feel that happen. Right side won't get very involved. And then it's a feria here, so that big bomb that just went off is fireworks. Sorry. So now extend out your right foot, and that will bring your left leg and right leg into right angles. Flex both feet. Both feet are flexed. And just working at that foot, that leg. Just stretching them both in the opposite direction, making that right angle. Feet are very flexed. Legs are very active. Don't try to bring it in any further. Just keep it at a right angle. Good. And then make sure both of your elbows are down on the floor. Your shoulder blades are firm on the floor. The back of the head is comfortable. You have a little bit of low back curve right now. And then when you allow your left leg to open to the side, keep the elbow down and let the strap stop you before your right hip peels up. So before your right hip peels up, be sure you've got the foot, both feet are very flexed. Both feet are very flexed. Breathe. Both elbows are pressing down into the floor. Both shoulders are into the floor. Don't roll off of your right hip. Keep the foot flexed. Good, and then bring it back up. Use your arm, bring it back up. Relax the shoulder again. Good, and this time, bring it just a little bit closer, maybe a centimeter. We had these bombas all night long. So the Virgin is about to go into the church, so it's going to happen for a while. Bend your right knee, put your right foot on the floor, just like you did at the beginning. And now see if the leg comes any closer. And yes, the low back on the left side will go into the floor. Just be where you are. Wherever you are is perfect. This in itself is a forward bend. Good. And then release the strap, point the toe, and then take the leg very slowly with control the whole way. Engage the quadricep, engage the front of the thigh, point the toe, engage the whole leg until the heel touches. Continue to point the toe, heel touches, point the toe, point, flex the foot, and bend the leg and bring it back, okay? We're gonna do the same thing on the other side, all righty? Same exact thing on the other side. So both legs are bent, feet are firm on the floor, find your low back curve, make sure you have a little bit of your low back curve. Shoulder blades are firm into the floor. Good. Keeping both legs bent for a moment, shoulder blades firm. And then go ahead and raise up the right leg. Flex the foot, raise it toward the floor, toward the ceiling. It may not go toward the ceiling. Wherever it goes is perfect. Just, it may go out way beyond. You may have super tight hamstrings. That's fine. That's what we're playing with. Foot is flexed. Then bend the knee and put your belt around the foot. Again, both shoulder blades on the floor firmly all the way to the elbow. The upper arm is totally on the floor. Flex the foot. Keep your left leg bent. And then gently see how far, maybe a millimeter, the leg comes in towards you with the left leg bent. That's really important here. And you'll notice now the right side, the low back, heads toward the floor, the left side, not so much. And then go ahead and release a little bit that stretch with your right leg and stretch out your left foot on the floor. Now we're at our right angle, or as close to a right angle as we can approximate. Feet are flexed, press through both feet. Very, very active, but arms and shoulders are resting on the floor. You just have the strap in your hand. Don't grip. Just enough to hold it. Notice if any low back curve you may have. See if you can access a little bit of low back curve in this right angle. Just breathing. Good, and then pull it toward you, just a micro movement, just a tiny little bit. Keep the feet flexed and reaching through the feet. And then make sure this horseshoe you have created from your arms all the way across your shoulder, that you've got the horseshoe going. You can even put your left hand on your left as is bone, your pelvic basket, as you drop the right leg out to the right side. Right elbow is on the floor, and you're just holding the strap. Do not let your left hip peel off. Keep the left hip down. Breathing. Foot is very flexed, very active. You'll feel it in your adductors as they're holding and contributing to holding the leg up, as well as your arm and the strap. Breathe. And then you can reach over with your left arm and help yourself pull that leg back up. Flex the foot toward the ceiling. Go ahead and bend your left knee. Put your left foot firmly on the floor, just like we started. And then now think about bringing that right leg a little bit closer. Your back will go into the floor. And then release the strap, point the toe, the left leg stays bent, and slowly begin to lower the leg. Very, very slowly, engage your abdominal muscles, very slowly. When the heel touches, flex the foot, press through the heel. Good, and then bend the knee and bring them both back to feet on the floor. Good, and for just a moment, go ahead and put your hands down by your hips. Make that horseshoe from your left fingertip up the arm, across the shoulders, and down into the right middle finger. That horseshoe, firmly press it into the floor and just lift your hips up and lower 3 times. So we're not going to stay in this inversion. We're just visiting up and lower and up and lower. Good. And then now stretch out your arms and shoulders back up and away from your hips. Bend your knees, reach through your legs, hold onto your ankles, shins, or big toes, and just rock a tiny bit side to side. Happy baby. If you're on a floor that will allow you to rock up, you can begin to rock back and forth. If you're not on a floor that allow you to rock up, then simply roll over to one side and press yourself up. Good, and then come to a comfortable seat with your legs gently bent. Great. So we're going to take the legs out into Upavista Konasana. Both legs are going to go out in front, pressing in. Sit yourself up on top of your sit bones, just right on top of the sit bones. You can lift your hips up and make sure you just sit right down on them. Feet are flexed, toes are toward the ceiling, shins are toward the ceiling, knees are toward the ceiling, no rotation, just abduction. Good. Go ahead and put your hands, the heel of your hands somewhere close to your hips. You can press into your fingers, sitting up nice and tall. Good, just breathing for a moment, right where you are. Good, continue to press through the heels. The legs are very, very active. Quadriceps are engaged, everything's engaged. Good. Again, press through the heels because the legs will get lazy and start to relax. So then press through the heels again. And then let's slowly bring the soles of the feet together. Vajrasana. Again, make a nice big diamond. Bring your hips off the floor for a sec. Sit yourself right down, but tilt a little bit. Set yourself on the front side of your sit bones. Lizard tail back behind you, so you already tilted in this direction a little bit. You're already ready to go forward. And then here for a moment, pull in your belly, begin to curl your upper spine, and create a circle with the crown of your head and the arches of your feet. They do not have to touch. It's just that circular motion or movement, circular energy. You can continue going and they may touch. You can just stay right where you are. Belly is very in. Breath is into the back body. Breathe into the chest. Continue to tuck your chin into your chest and surrender just a little bit more. And then using your hands on the floor, walk them inside your legs. And then the fulcrum of your arms, press into your arms, straighten your elbows, and let that press you up, back up to seated. Good, okay. And now simply the right leg out. Left leg comes back to you. Go ahead and take a block if your knee is not on the floor and place the block there firmly. Your left foot is firmly placed into the inner thigh of the right leg. Good. So just one side into this forward bend, okay? Nice and tall for a moment. Flex the foot, press through the foot. And initially just begin walking out until you get your stop, until you feel my low back is really bending. I'm going to stop there. So stop when your low back starts to bend. When your low back starts to fill out and you've lost your curve, good, stop there. And then spread that forward bend into your thoracic spine, which already goes in that direction. Curl the chin into the chest. This is a forehead to knee pose, or crown of the head to knee pose. It is not shin to chin. It is head to knee. Janu, knee, shira, crown of your head, or between the forehead and the crown of the head. Put your hands on either side of your knee, elbows are deeply bent, and then straighten your arms to come up. Let that bring you up. Unpeel your chin from your chest. Excellent. Sit up nice and tall. Let's go ahead and take the arms out to the side and up overhead for a moment. Reach up out of either sit bone. Just reach up, and for just a moment, reach forward and just see how far you may go. That's it. Just reaching forward. Good. And then go ahead and bring back each hand again close to your upper leg and straighten the arms to come up. Great. And extend out the left foot, bring the right leg in. And again, if your knee isn't on the floor, go ahead and put a block there. Support the inner thigh. Make sure you're on top of your sit bone. Go ahead and flex the foot. Everything is working. Quad is really working. Knee is as close, the heel, is as close to the groin as you can manage. And you're nice and tall. So up first. And then putting your fingertips on the floor, begin to walk yourself out just until you get to your personal stop. You can feel the hamstrings, you can feel the tug on your low back, you can feel that your low back is beginning to round. Stop there. And then let's add the thoracic spine. So beginning to curl your rib cage as you tuck the chin into the chest. Hands are on the floor, elbows are bent. Anywhere between the forehead and the crown of the head is headed toward the knee. Keep tucking. The whole body, the whole spine is round, like a big cat tuck. Breathe. Breath is in the back body, in the chest. Belly is super engaged and stable. Keep the foot flexed. And then gently begin to walk your hands back by the knee, right beside the knee. Begin to press into the hands, straighten the arms as you unpeel chin off chest and come up slowly. All the way up, walk your hands back, all the way up. Good, nice and tall. Great. And then again, let's take the arms out to the side. Flip the palms so they're facing one another. Shoulder blades are down, lots of space between your shoulder and your ear. Good. And then slowly just reach forward to see where your hands get to. Then you get to your foot, to your shin, to your knee, wherever they get to is perfect. Good. Breathing. Great. Excellent. And then slowly walk your hands back close to your groin. Just get it back as close as you can. Press into your hands, straighten the arms to come up. Great. And then both legs out. We aren't quite yet going into that forward bend yet. Just pressing through both legs into Dandasana. Good. Great. So one more thing we're going to do to work on those hamstrings for a moment. So go ahead and cross your legs, just get your legs crossed, and then come over onto your knees and come into your table pose. So nice table pose, okay? I have to come forward a little bit, right? Okay, so your wrists are right underneath your shoulders. Your hands are completely in front of your shoulders. Good. And then reach back with your left leg. Flex the foot, reach back. Make sure the foot does not, I'm going to lower my head. Make sure the foot does not go out to the side. The toes are pointed down. Press through. Press through the arms. Fill out the space between the ribs, just pressing through. Good. And then bend the knee and bring it in close to your elbow and then take it back. 2 more times. Flex the foot greatly when it goes back. Point the toe, bring the knee in close to the elbow and take it back. Flex the foot, slow, and bring it in. Knee to elbow, take it back, flex the foot, press through, press, 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 and release. Good. Excellent. Other side. So first find your stability. Don't slump in your shoulders. Press the floor away. Nice and big in your shoulders. Fill out the rhomboids, that space right between your shoulder blades. And then taking the right foot back, flex the foot, toes are toward the floor. Make sure you don't have your toes out to the side anywhere. Toes are toward the floor, foot is very flexed, press into the hands, fill out the space in the back. And then point the toe and bring the knee toward the elbow and take it back. Flex the foot, pull in the belly, pelvic floor is lifted. Bend the knee, knee to elbow, flex the foot and take it back. Point the toe, bring it in, knee to elbow, flex the foot and take it back. Good, press through, press, 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 and release. Good, and then let's come up for just a moment. Good. Nice tall spine. Take our hips back toward our heels. Good. Just sitting for a moment with the hips toward the heels. Rest your dominant hand on top. Thumbs gently touching, palms are resting. Good. And then I have one more forward bend, very simple one that I would like for you to take. If you are inverting, I would love for you to take mountain pose, often called downward facing dog if you're inverting. If you're not inverting, I would like for you to take mountain pose on your back, okay? So it's a right angle that we're forming with the body. So our mountain pose can be here with our arms stretched out above us, reaching through here, keeping a little tiny bit of low back curve. This can be it. Just reach the arms up, push the shoulder blades down towards your hips as the arms reach up. So you can take it there, or you can come up into mountain. So in either place, I want you to form a right angle with your legs and your spine. If you're in mountain, make sure you cannot see your heels. They're hidden behind the foot. Come up onto the tippy toes, and then slowly bend the knees a little bit, and then begin to lower the heels toward the floor as you straighten the legs to wherever they straighten. Press the floor away, push the weight into the back body. You can always bend the knees a little, but we're working on those hamstrings. You may want to walk the mountain, pressing into one heel, bending the opposite knee, just stretching through the hamstrings. We're almost done. Before we're going to check how is our Pachimottanasana at the end of class. Come up onto the tippy toes again. And then begin to roll down into the foot. Pull in your belly, press the floor away, press your hips back toward the wall behind you. And then bend your knees. And if you're on the floor, you're going to slowly just come up to seated. Okay? And so we're all going to come to seated. We're going to meet each other back in Dandasana. Good. I was like this. We'll go like this. Okay? Up onto your sit bones. And we're going to start with our knees gently bent. So we're going to work through our somatic motor system. Okay? So our knees start gently bent. Bring your arms up overhead. And initially, just reach through. So wherever you reach to is fine. Your feet, your shins, your knees, anywhere you get to is just fine. Just be there. Notice the relationship of your spine to your thighs. Remember how it was in the chair. Your knees are gently bent, so your hamstrings are somewhat out of the equation, not at the right angle they were in the chair. Good. And then now I want you to hold on to anywhere a little higher on your legs as you think about releasing some of the bend in your knee, keeping your spine where it is and releasing a little bit of the bend in the knee. Don't press too hard. Don't overdo. Keep looking down at your shins and just waiting. We have to wait for quite a few seconds to allow the body to let us move in. It needs that to feel safe. You can put your hands on the floor close to your knees. Roll your shoulders back and down. Lengthen through the spine. And then just one more time, seeing if the thighs can enter a little bit more without giving up your low back. And then use your low back to curl. Draw the chin into the chest. Your hands can stay on the floor beside you, or they can reach forward toward your ankles, your shins, your feet, wherever you happen to be. And just notice the quality of this forward bend, this Pachimottanasana, compared to your very first forward bend. Pull in the belly, up on your sit bones. Lengthen through the ribs. Tuck the chin firmly. And then release the feet with the hands, or the release where you have the hands. Bring the hands close to your knees, put them on the floor. Roll your shoulders back and down. Initially begin to peel the chin off the chest, look forward towards your feet, and then press into the hands to bring yourself up, not your low back. Good. Come all the way up. And then we're going to bend the knees, put the feet on the floor. Put the feet firmly on the floor. Put your hands behind you. Fingertips can point in or out, whichever gives you the most stability. And coming up to reverse table, just for a moment. Good. This is often called Nabi Darshan, which means seeing your belly button. So looking at your belly button. Breathing. Keep the chin tucked in so you can see your belly button. And then slowly lower your bottom to the floor. And then you'll be glad to hear our next pose is Shavasana, corpse pose. So not feeling restricted by your mat, feeling more like a starfish, just allowing your body to melt into the floor, really melting. Palms are facing up below your heart. You have your low back curve. Make sure you have your low back curve. If you need to, arch your spine off the floor, readjust your shoulder blades, let them down. You can flex the feet for a minute, press through the heels, and then relax the feet and the legs completely. You can grip the fingers and strengthen through the arms, and then relax the arms and hands completely. Let go of the jaw. Letting the breath even out, noticing the quality of the breath, the rise and the fall. Just enough breath to sustain you, no control here. Just letting the prawn in. Check in with your jaw. Make sure you've relaxed your jaw, the seat of the will. Any tension in the body, send the breath there. Let it melt away. Slowly and gently bringing your awareness back to the breath. Letting it increase a little bit in length and volume. Bringing the senses back online. Rolling the eyes in the socket. Moving the tongue in the mouth. Wriggling your ears. Wiggling your nose. Swimming the fingers and the toes. And then slowly and gently beginning to bend your knees, putting your feet on the floor slowly. Rock a little bit side to side, but keep the arch in your low back. Just rock a little bit side to side. Arch the low back as you rock to the side. And then slowly just making your way over to one side and embryo pose. Just rock all the way on over and curl up. I love the thought of leaving behind in corpse pose something that no longer serves us. You can think that thought and leave it there. And then embryo pose with all of its new possibilities. What seed would you like to plant and nourish and water? What was your intention? Thinking about it, watering it, nourishing it. And then using the hand of the upper arm, put it on the floor close to your face. Tuck the chin into the chest. Begin to spiral up. Head is the very last thing that comes up and balances slowly on your head, on your spine. Just bringing it up and letting it bounce. Finding your seat. Nice, comfortable seat. Tall spine. I brought a pillow and put it underneath me. So whatever you want for your meditation, grab it now. If you want a scarf or a shawl or a blanket, anything you might want, because we're going to slide from our pranayama right into our meditation. So anything you might need to cover up and keep you stable, keep you still. Good. Nice and tall. Finding the breath again in the body, in the belly or the chest, and just notice it and nourish it for a few breaths. Just feeling the prana coming in from the universe. Feeling your exhale nourishing the plants, the trees. Feeling that symbiotic relationship between us, the microcosm of that, the macrocosm. Letting the breath just soothe you. And then beginning to control the breath a little, creating a longer exhale than our inhale. Not much longer. Maybe if you're inhaling 4, you exhale 6. If you're inhaling 6, you exhale 8. Just finding your inhale and increasing the exhale by 2 counts, whatever it is. Your hands can be resting on your legs. You can also bring your index finger and thumb together in Jnana Mudra, the mudra of wisdom. So letting your eyes close as you breathe, or a soft gaze toward the floor in front. Just increasing by 2 counts the exhale. Keeping that rhythm going, just listening to my voice. You're going to add a 2-second pause between the inhale and the exhale. So if you're inhaling 4, pause. Exhale 6, pause. So every time, whatever your breath is, you're adding a 2-second pause at the top of the inhale and at the bottom of the exhale. Keep adding, keep doing, keep your own rhythm. Inhaling, 2-second pause, Exhaling 2 seconds longer than the inhale. Pause at the bottom for 2 counts. Keep going. Releasing the control of the breath. Just finding yourself in your natural breathing. Sliding right into the meditation. I am that. Your microcosm is a reflection of the macrocosm. I am that. In Sanskrit, Hamsa. 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 Repeating it silently to yourself in English or Sanskrit. I am that. No control of the breath, just letting the mantra soothe you, tether you. I am that. Hamsa. 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 I am that. Hamsa. Hamsa. Stop. Stop. Slowly and gently releasing the mantra, letting it fade into the universe. Releasing the mudra of the hands, letting them relax completely. Just being for a moment in this still space, noticing the body, the breath, and the mind. Bringing the hands into the heart, Anjali. Taking a moment and reflecting on your intention. What was your intention for self-transformation today? What did you bring into your practice? What did your practice give to you? And then letting your head bow slightly. Any merit we have made today in our very diligent practice of yoga, we lift it up to the welfare of all sentient beings. And then letting your thoughts drift out of your mind again, down into your heart space, and then symbolically from your heart space, right into the very palms of your hands. And then lift them up and just let them go off into the universe, gently drawing your hands back into the heart. Hari Om Tat Sat. Namaste. I'm coming to you. Anybody who has to leave early, thank you for coming. I appreciate your being there. I get a better vision of you when I get close and up close and can see your pretty faces. Okay, hold on. So thanks for coming, everybody. I have an eye that's may have an allergy weeping, but something is weeping. Let's see, let me fix it where you can talk first. Okay, participants. There, good. Thank you, Nayana G. unspotlight, get myself in a gallery view. Great, and now I have you all. Great. Welcome. Hi, everyone. Let me get my glasses back on so I can really see you. I am so blind, I can't really. Hi, Ashok. Hi, Cam, Sylvia, Surya Prakash. Hi, Wendy, Kristen, nice to have you. Jean, Patty, Jana. Hi, Sandra, Alfredo, Mamata, Varmita, that's a new person, welcome. Lavanya, also a new person, welcome. Hi, Hope, from before. Hi, Ramin, good morning to you. Nice to have you at class. So how was your change in your forward bend? Did you have any change? Did you have any difference? Patty, tell me about it.
Tremendous. I mean, not very wise, but yesterday I did some heavy lifting of some big paint cans and not so smart. So of course this morning I wake up a little sore, put some Advil on the counter, which I have not taken. And now I don't feel like I need to because and initially I'm more like this, but when you did it the second time, I was very comfortably much further. Amazingly. Good. Yeah.
Good.
Beautiful.
Good. It's just working those hamstrings, sister.
Yeah. And yes, and I would not have thought that.
Yeah, it's that war going on consistently between the hamstrings and the QL, you know. Thank you, Mamata. Thank you. Jane, you were going to comment too. I saw your hands.
I had the same experience as Patty.
Good.
And it was much looser and easier, and seemed to involve more in a good way.
Yeah, the core gets involved much more, like pulling the belly back out of the way, you know, and really stabilizing the low back before you go over. And how was that first, the first one just in the chair? Isn't that revealing about how flexible our hip socket really is? And it's just those tight hamstrings and tight QLs that limit our possibilities. Like you're sitting in that chair and your spine is down in between your thighs and then you're on the floor and there's no way, right? But it's the tightness of those hamstrings and the tightness of the quadratus lumborum. Yeah, it's quite amazing. I
do have a question, Ginger, about the figure eights with your hands. I also don't know that there's two ways.
So I have to always go like I have to like take it to the right and then make the 8. And then I have to take it to the left.
Oh.
And okay. It feels, I mean, I always thought it was the same thing and still it may be, but you know, I've had teachers tell, so I'm just listening to what like do both sides. You know how it would probably be better is if you did that. So let's all do that for a second. Now come to neutral, switch your interlace and go the other direction. That feels totally different. I think I'll do that from now on, Jean. Thanks for helping me explore that sensation. That was just me parroting what I've heard for 20-something years. That really feels different. Did you guys feel that? How different that feels? Like your normal interlace and you go, and then you switch the interlace and then you take it the other way first. That feels really, if the part of my hand that I never work, I can feel it there, which is good. Yeah.
What do you mean by switch the interlace?
Like here's the interlace with my left little finger on top at the bottom, and then I'm gonna switch and put my right. And then they feel very different.
I see. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that feels quite different. Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally different.
Right. Yeah. And Yeah, anything else about the asana? Because I really just tried to focus on hamstrings, and that leg work is really good. Yes, Ashok.
Yeah, I also felt a distinct difference between the before and the after. And this was a really good set for me. Because I have difficulty just kind of sitting on my sit bones. In Dandasana, I tend to fall back. So
Good.
I could tell a big difference afterwards.
Excellent. Excellent. And there's one other leg stretch I was going to add, but I couldn't because I had the wall and I couldn't take my leg to the other direction. Let me just show you real briefly what I'm talking about. So I'll do it. So we did, we did everything like up and over and up and, with this bent, and then bent. Well, it goes like this. It's bent with this one straight, and then open, and then come back. And then we just went on to the next, but I would have had you bend, lift, switch, and go over to the other side. But because I had a wall back behind me, I couldn't do that. So I couldn't give you any direction at all without just making it super confusing to me and you. So you just have to lift the hips up, shift them, and then take the leg over to the other side and come back up. And then do the last little final, try to pull it in a little bit more. But that's a great leg routine. Yes, Sylvia.
I have a question about when we were lengthening the legs, actually to like lowering them down and the lower space, the space in the back, because I also have heard it like press all the lower back kind of to work the core. Can you tell?
I wanted to, that's why I had you like feel when it would come up and when it would go down naturally on that one side. That's where it stays, but you don't want to like shove it in, right? Because that pushes back into, we don't know the health of a lot of our students' disc, and we don't know if they have bulging disc in that area or not. So it'll go comfortably to what's there, and then you can engage the belly, but you're never pushing. Like, for example, when I tell people to engage the belly, oh, the camera's in a different place. Okay. What I mean when I say engage the belly is watch my low back. My belly's let go. Let's see if I can get it down a little bit more. My Buddha belly, right? My belly's let go. All right. So when I say engage the belly, watch my low back. Did my low back move? It didn't. Watch again. Okay. Here's my Buddha belly. Engage the belly. Did you see just my belly moved?
Yes.
Okay. That's what I mean when I say you want to pull the belly in, but you don't want to go like that. So you don't want to push the low back down. You want the low back to stay wherever it is, and then you want to pull in the belly to support it. But the belly's pulled in, released. Belly in, released. But I'm not messing with that.
Okay. Okay. And the second question is lowering the legs. Is there any big difference between lowering it with the toes pointed or with the foot flex?
When you go that way, I was having you relax the back of the leg and engage the quad, which is why I had you do that. And then when you got to so when you have the toes pointed, the front of the leg is active, right? The front of the shin. So I had you lower with the toe pointed. And then when you got to the bottom, when the heel touched, flex the foot. So you reactivate the hamstring. But I let the hamstring rest a little bit on its way down.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. And how was your Hamsa meditation?
I actually have a question about that. Sorry. Is that the same one that's so hum? Because
it is the reverse. So hum is that I am. So hum that I am. And Hamsa, I am that. In
Okay.
Sanskrit, hum is I am. Mhm. Yeah. So it's the same. And there we have a 3-part meditation that we teach in the more advanced class where it's 5 minutes of so hung. No, you start with, 5 minutes of so hung, 5 minutes of hung sa, and then into om. So I am that I am, and om, I am om. I am the universal, everything in between. Yeah. Yeah. So I love that meditation, and I hope the breath holding, like, the more research that's being done, we know that holding the breath for those little seconds is what's helping to reset our polyvagal system. And so even though our whole vagal nerve, which controls so many different parts of our autonomic nervous system, so that little 2-second hold, people that want to hold with more holding and locks or whatever, that's fine. But just for everybody, like normal people on the street, would benefit from learning to just hold a little bit between the inhale and the exhale, just that little pause, and then start again, And was that challenging for anyone to do? It's usually the one that's challenging is a hold after the exhale. Was that challenging? Everybody good? Good. Okay. Yeah. And, you can, sahit kumbhak as it is in the scriptures, you're inhaling for 4, holding for 8, well, let's just say you're inhaling in a ratio of 1, 4, 2. Okay, I was trying to get it together. So if I hold for 4, I hold for 16, and I exhale for 8. And that's like a kind of like a nadi shodan with holes. It can be a lot more effective for people. And lately, therapeutically, I've been recommending something similar to that without locks, because I find that the locks really bring up people getting nervous about it, holding for a little bit. But if they just pause for that little bit of time, and maybe not that count of sahit, but maybe a smaller ratio, that's very helpful for us, just feeling less nervous and less upset about anything, less not engaged so much in that parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system, the fight and flight. Okay, well, it's a nice Tuesday, and nice to have you. We have a beautiful day. I had those. Did you hear the bombas going off? The fireworks going off in the village happened all night long with a big procession. Yeah, Sylvia's in the same village. Big procession. All I could think about was the spittle of all those horns blasting, and the women were carrying I don't know if it was the men or the women, I don't know, somebody's carrying the Virgin or Jesus or whoever left the church yesterday. And all I could think about is they're front to back and they're coughing and whatever, because it's late, and they're singing, and God preserve us. So hopefully everybody that processed will be fine. But I think yesterday was the day of the devil. It's the day you burn the devil. And at 6 p.m. we had fireworks for 1 hour solid. And there they go again. And all I could think about last night was the devil is in this, the devil is in the details. Well, the devil is in the procession right now if people get sick. So it's really scary. So, yeah. Anyway, okay, well, I'm going to go enjoy the fireworks and have breakfast, and really nice hanging out with you guys. Much love. Have a wonderful rest of the day, and then hopefully I'll see you Thursday, 6 a.m. in California, and for those of us here, our regular 8 a.m. Okay. Yes, Jean. Yeah, 6.